Page 35, the Cuckoo. On page 34, they're introducing you to some chords. They say the G major and the D7 chords. We're still giving you bits and pieces, and we haven't connected the bits and pieces yet, so I'd like to tell you more stuff to make more sense out of it, but I'm just kind of following what the book is doing, so hang in there. This will all come together. It really will. So let's just focus on these chords on page 34. At the bottom of the page, you see a G chord. That is a chord every other note, and we're talking triads. Remember, triad, 3 notes. Every other note with G on the bottom. It's a G chord. Remember C chord? We had a C chord down here. We did it in both hands. Well, this is a G chord because it's got a G on the bottom. I could do this C, D, E, F, G. You get the idea? Then the second one is a D7 chord, and just memorize it for now. It's here. You have that F sharp, the little finger comes down. These two chords are really important. And why they're really important, we'll get to later. Just right now, just know them. And I'm sure they'll introduce them for the right hand eventually, because you got to know them in both hands. So the G chord, the D7 chord. We've already had the C chord and the G7 chord. Don't forget those. Well, and now it's G, D7, G. For the Cuckoo, let's look at that. It's 3/4 time, so we don't have to count to 3. Yay. The melody for this looks like is in the right hand, so we're going to play the right hand louder than the left. The left hand just gets these chords, the G chord and the D7 chord. The right hand gets all the good stuff, so let's look at the right hand here. At the beginning, and you're in G position here, right? Okay. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that dotted half note, remember, gets 3 counts. 2 for the half note, 1 for the dot, 3 counts. Watch the phrasing. I'm just going to lift up between each phrase so we get a little silence. 1, 2, 3, 1. Actually, I come down on the D, and then as I play the B, I come up on the B. 1, 2, 3. On 2-note slurs like this, for the first 2 measures, it's typically you'll go down on the first note and up on the second. You'll see that a lot. Some teachers teach that when you get a 2-note slur like that, you play the second note staccato. I don't teach that. I teach it, play it like it's written, and playing the second note staccato is an interpretive thing, and I just don't interpret them that way very often. So the quarter note, hold it out a full beat or close to a full beat. It's not going to be a full beat because you're going to separate it from the next note, so you got to get off it a little early so you can lift up and get silence before you play the next note, because the next note has to be played on time. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. In the second line, you got 2 slurs there, so just lift up between them, and the last line is like the first line. That's really about all it is for Cuckoo. The only other thing I have to mention is the repeat sign at the end of the first line, which means we're going to play that first line twice, because we're going to repeat it. So the piece is actually 4 lines long, even though it looks like 3. It's cool. Now at the beginning, there's an MF. That's mezzo forte. Medium loud, moderately loud, sort of loud, kind of loud, whatever. All you got to do is figure out what loud is, and then you go a little softer than that. That's the melody. So make sure the left hand is softer than that. How soft is up to you. It's a judgment thing. You can play it. I've heard professionals, when they play something, they'll play the melody like it's supposed to be, and you can't hardly even hear any of the supporting stuff. I've heard them do that. That may be carrying it a little too far. I mean, we would like to hear the harmony. It's just got to be in the background. See? 2. So just make sure we hear the melody. The harmony, Yeah. And that's about it. That's the only dynamic given. As you get to know the piece, you get the mechanics out of the way first. That is, the notes and the rhythms and the dynamics and the phrasing and all that junk. Get it all, learn it, so you can do it without thinking, and you can play this piece without looking at the keyboard, I hope. Eventually, you have to look at originally when you're first learning, but you need to get to where you can play it without looking at the keyboard. Everything in this book we've had so far, you should be able to play without looking at the keyboard, and this might be a good time to go back and just play them all again, just to make sure you can do that. I'm looking for excuses for you to go back and review, because it's really important that you do that. Don't just go through it one time and I got it, let's go on. Go through it and review. But once you get all the mechanics out of the way, then you can start focusing on the emotional message the melody has to offer, or the music has to offer, because harmony can offer a message too. It's, can you get into the music? 1, 2. You have to decide how fast you're going to go. It says happily. That's not a speed. It's a mood. So be happy. It's an order. Be happy. And you think, play this piece in a happy manner. Whatever that is. But it's an emotional thing. And you do that after you've learned it. And you think happy as you're doing it. I'll talk more about this feeling thing as we go through the book. But I'd like to play this very slowly and have you play it with me, if you would, just to check your notes and your rhythms and all that stuff. You can do the happy and the speed up junk on your own later. So I'm going to give us 3 counts and we'll start. So put your hands in G position and here we go. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2. Repeat. 2, 3. 2. 2, 3. 1, 2.